What's your best "I've made a huge mistake" moment? Mine is happening right now. I discovered a huge gaping hole in the crotch of my favorite jeans. I decided to duct tape it together from the inside of the pants, and now the mixture of duct glue and ball sweat is creating one of the most uncomfortable walking experiences of my life. I was swimming at a hotel pool with the built-in tables and chairs attached to the bottom. I figured it would be awesome to swim in and out between them, like a fish in a reef. Keep in mind, this is off season, and nobody in the pool area was anywhere near me. I zoom through a few chairs, and I'm feeling like some kind of underwater rock star, like I'm Mike Jagger and these cement chairs are hot groupies trying to get a piece of me. Suddenly, my chest is on fire and I'm not moving. I wedge my chest between a chair and table, underneath the table, so there's 2 inches of cement between me and sweet air. I was pretty sure I was going to be on the Darwin Awards in about 45 seconds, so I thrashed and wiggled like my life depended on it, and managed to scrape a 6x6 inch patch of skin off both back and chest, but I got free. The idea of drowning is terrifying, but the idea of drowning in a hotel pool of your own stupidity is both terrifying and humiliating. I think the humiliation is what gave me the burst of energy to get free. So 2 weeks ago, my boss called me at my desk. And it went like this. "Boss, so, Mike, I'm in Greenville, North Carolina." Me, "Yes." "Boss, you were supposed to send me to Greenville, South Carolina." Me, "Huh, I don't know what to say right now, except sorry." TLDR, I sent my boss to the wrong state, because I didn't realize there was a Greenville, North Carolina and a Greenville, South Carolina. In high school, I had these jeans where if I put my hands in my pocket, the zipper would automatically open. For some reason I continued to wear these pants, mostly out of laziness. I was in one of my classes where the teacher was really cool, got along with her pretty well. For some reason, I thought it would be funny to go up to her while she was sitting down, put my crotch area about half a foot away from her face, and go, "Watch this," as I put my hands in my pocket to unleash my zipper. I didn't realize that my boxers were opened, and Pumper 911 Jr. flopped out right in front of her. Even if they were closed and she didn't see anything, I have no idea why I thought it was a good and funny idea. Right when I noticed it, I realized I made a huge mistake. I ordered a pizza at 5 PM for it to arrive at 8 PM. The pizza arrived at 6 PM, and I was very surprised since I was wanting to delay it. But I happily ate it anyway. 8 PM came and another pizza guy turned up, and stupidly I told him I'd already had the delivery, so he left with a potential free pizza. As I closed the front door I realized what I'd done, but it was too late. Edit, I should mention that I had paid for my order online already. I was constipated for a week once. So at work, I ate a whole box of Fiber One bars and drank a large hot coffee. I shat 7 or 8 times before lunch. One turd was pure black, and I swear to God one had veins. I had developed a belly over the course of that week from the build up. So my skin felt loose for a while afterwards. Also I could not stop farting, even after the turd storm ended. One fart was so bad I actually vomited from the smell. Also, have you ever smoked a cigarette and then blown the smoke through a napkin to see the tar? Well, that's what my pants looked like after farting for 10 hours straight. TLDR, don't eat too many Fiber One bars. One time when I had a stomach flu, I thought I only had to fart. For those who don't get it, he pooped his pants. Having realized too late that I no longer possessed the upper body strength nor small feet I had when I was a child, at 18 I tried to scale a chain link fence, making it halfway up before my arms gave out, feet slipped, and I was left hanging by my shirt and bra. Swaying in the breeze, shirt pulled up over my face, hooked on the top of the fence. The kid walking by had the biggest eyes, mouth agape as he walked by, as I flailed, jumping, trying to free myself. Good times. Ever since I was a small boy, I have enjoyed the taste of fresh apple juice. Knowing this, my mother bought gallon bottles of it, even though she did not enjoy it. One day, being the big boy, age 6, I thought I was. I decided I was going to have a glass of apple juice without asking her to pour the heavy bottle. Miraculously, I poured myself a glass without incident and proceeded to imbibe it. That was great. I thought to myself. So I decided to have another, and before I knew it, I had drank an entire gallon of sweet, acidic apple juice. Within 10 minutes, the fire of an entire apple orchard erupted from within my gut. I've made a huge mistake, I thought as I collapsed to the floor. I was violently ill for almost 3 days with severe acidosis. How a small child drank 1 gallon of apple juice, I will never know. Probably the first time I bought a boat. It was a piece of shit that I almost killed myself in, because I thought how hard can sailing be, people have been doing this for thousands of years. I got a B- in calculus, I think I can handle this. I skimmed through anyhow how to sail with the wind video, considered myself certified, then proceeded to go out with a buddy who had never even been on a boat before. I've made a huge mistake. After the mainsail broke loose and we couldn't start the outboard. It was considerably windy and choppy out there, and I really thought the two of us were going to die. Didn't even have life jackets. Ended up getting saved by a small Coast Guard vessel that just happened to be cruising by. Yeah, I'm a dumbass. When I was much younger, around 7 or 8, I had the urge to pee very badly. At this time in my life, my family frequented the local community swimming pool, and I had just passed the test to go into the deep end. I even got one of those sweet, stretchy anklets that signify my deep end baller status. Anyway, I really had to pee. Like really bad. Bad enough that I achieved a prepubescent peerection. I ran as fast as I could towards the restrooms that were at the end of the pool, near the deep end. I made it to the urinal, but it was too tall for me, and there were no kiddie ones. So I hopped onto my tippy toes and whipped it out. But since I was at full mast and angled slightly backwards, the stream went right into my ducking eye. Like bam, a sure shot right to the iris. And I couldn't very well correct my trajectory due to the circumstances at hand, so I pulled my bathing suit back on, continued to pee my pants, and ran straight into the deep end, opening and closing my eyes to get the piss out. I was curious as to the effects of icy hot when rubbed upon one's nipples. Instant regret. One of my roommates in my second year of college worked for traffic and parking, which is basically the ticket bishes of campus. Occasionally they'll work an intersection. Anyway, he worked an intersection for a whole day, no sunscreen, came back, and I've never seen someone more completely sunburnt. He thought that since he didn't have aloe vera, the next best thing was icy hot. He spent the next hour in the shower screaming in pain. At my wedding, I realized I was making a huge mistake. I had a beautiful wedding with all of my friends and family in attendance. Weeks before the wedding, my soon-to-be wife said, "You better not smear the cake in my face." Well, on our wedding day, it came time, and I started shoving cake toward her face. As she leaned backwards to avoid it, her heel got caught in a crack in the concrete, and she began falling towards the ground. She grabbed me and pulled me down with her, causing cake to get all over her nice white dress. As we got up off the ground, she began cussing me out. She then threw a wine glass on the ground and yelled to her friends for a cigarette. I looked in the distance to see the preacher walking away. I knew then that the marriage wouldn't last. It lasted 6 long months. My wife looked me in the eyes and told me, "Look at me. I'm not ducking kidding here. Hair and makeup is expensive. If you push cake in my face, I will introduce that cake knife to your balls. I'm serious, okay? No, don't laugh. I'm ducking serious. You put cake in my face, and it's over for you." I didn't put the cake in her face. It's been a pretty sweet 3 years so far. A couple of years ago, I sat down to relieve myself. Little did I know that somehow, and don't ask me how, because I just don't know, the tip of my penis was not aimed into the bowl. When I started to pee, I literally got it all over my shorts. I had no idea what to do at that point. Happens to the best of us. I accidentally left a Rex toy in the bathroom last night. Since I live alone, this is normally not a problem. Had unexpected guests today, one of them had to use the bathroom. Oh god. Why? I went on a first date with a girl that I had been talking online to for a while. We decided to go to a movie together one weekend, so I met her at a theater an hour away. I let her pick whatever movie she wanted to see, so we saw Flicker, a stereotypical horse movie. You can probably guess the plot better than I can remember. Girl finds wild horse, loves it, tries to tame it, no one thinks she can, blah blah blah. We get inside, and there is not a single other person in the theater. The movie is pretty bad, and at one point, this giant mountain lion jumps out of a tree and tries to eat Flicker himself. It just seemed so random to me that this mountain lion either wanted to eat this giant horse, or at least just kill him because he hated it for some off-screen reason. Also it looked super cheesy. So I accidentally started laughing a little bit. And then the girl that I was with slowly turned towards me with a face of such disgust, such venom that I immediately stopped all giggling. I then realized that she had tears streaming down her face, and at that moment said to me in that completely empty theater, loudly, "How can you be laughing at a time like this?" I slowly turned my attention back to the movie, finished watching it, said goodnight, and drove back to school. I will never forget those words. I often repeat them back to myself in the varying ways that you can say, "These pretzels are making me thirsty." Everything about that night just seems so ridiculous now. It was like it was destiny. That movie was made entirely to have that ridiculous scene in it, so me and this girl could be in this empty theater together, so I could chuckle and she could deliver the perfect line of, "How can you be laughing at a time like this?" I got on MARTA, Atlanta's attempt at public transit, wearing only a giant banana suit to go to a Halloween party, not realizing that black people in Atlanta, A, do not dress up on Halloween, and 2, are apparently the only people who really ride MARTA. About 2 stops in, I start hearing, "Ah hell nah, that a banana shorty, hell nah." It got worse and worse, and by the time I reached my stop, I was trying to hide my shame as an entire car full of rowdy folks from the dirty south laughed openly at me. Forgetting to wear a pad before my karate class. High kicks and white pants, plus an older kid from my high school as the black belt watching over us all, mixing for a quite horrible memory. The first time I changed oil on my motorcycle, I drained the transmission oil pan and not the bigger engine oil pan. I noticed that I only drained a little oil, but I figured that I was just running low on it. Next day my motorcycle starts pushing out the excess oil out, and I ruin the pair of pants I'm wearing. But it doesn't stop there. I start draining the oil the right way this time, but the container I'm using is made to hold only 5 quarts, and there are 7+ quarts in my bike. The excess oil makes a mess of my garage, and I had to spend a good hour cleaning it up and buying cat litter to cover it. I left the cat litter overnight, and stray cats did their business on it. A younger me once thought it would be a great idea to wax my own genitalia. After all the porn stars were doing it. Anyways, as I had never attempted such a thing before, I naively went to my local pharmacy and purchased some wax strips. Now, although the wax strips were clearly advertised to be used on legs, I just naturally assumed they would be fit for purpose down there also. After opening that package and reading the instructions, I was ready to go. I applied the first strip to my sack whilst laying on the bathroom floor, and proceeded to roll back rapidly whilst giving an almighty yank. I've made a huge mistake. The pain was excruciating, and my balls immediately begun to weep blood. Clearly my technique was not yet perfected. I'd come this far, so I might as well keep on trucking. Several more yanks later, I was going into shock. My balls and gooch were now red raw, bloody, and scattered with stubborn pubic hairs that refused to uproot. It was a war zone down there. Finally, and as tears begun to well up in my eyes, I threw in the towel. But it didn't end there. You see, I didn't quite read all the instructions, and had missed the crucial step of applying the oil, which came in the wax strip package to remove the sticky wax residue. I just assumed I could wash that shit off with warm water and soap. Wrong. The soapy water only added to my pain, and soon after I gave up on that too, and was convinced that the bloodied wax would dry up and stop being so sticky in good time. That night I went clubbing with friends, and by 10:30 p.m, the wax was bonding to my briefs like cement. My balls now securely fused to the briefs, the pain of walking/dancing was agonizing. But I was determined to party on. So I just got drunk. Really drunk. The more I drank, the less I noticed the pain, and by the end of the night I was dancing like an absolute retard amongst the other clubbers. I crashed at my good friend's house, and woke up early in the morning with an epic urge to vomit. Without a bucket nearby, I leaped out of bed to run to the toilet, totally forgetting about the whole situation downstairs. At that point, my balls, now fused well and truly to my briefs, were savagely ripped away from the cotton. I was in trouble by this point, and only just made it to the toilet to yak everywhere. When I finally made it back to the room I was sleeping in, I closed the door and went to inspect the damage. After plying the rest of my sack from the briefs, I was faced with the most terrifying sight. My sack was absolutely infused with wax, blood, and weeping a clear substance which resembled that which comes out of burn blisters. I had shed a full layer of ball skin like a snake, and it was stuck firmly to the briefs. It was a long road to recovery, and I now only shave down there, never wax. TLDR, attempted to wax my balls. Ended up shedding my sack like a snake sheds its skin.